Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you right off the bat. I almost killed my dad with good intentions. Yeah, you heard that right. Here I was, thinking I'm being this amazing daughter, bringing him all his favorite meats because hey, protein's good for seniors, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. My dad's 67, and about 6 months ago he started having these weird episodes where he'd get dizzy, his joints would flare up something fierce, and he just looked gray, like the life was being drained out of him. We went to 3 different doctors, ran every test you can imagine, and they kept saying his numbers were concerning but couldn't pinpoint exactly what was going on. Then one day I'm sitting in this little cafe, you know the kind where the owner actually knows your name, and I overhear this conversation at the next table. This woman, probably mid-70s, is telling her friend how she completely turned her husband's health around just by changing the meat he was eating. I'm normally not one to eavesdrop, but something about the way she was talking made me lean in. She said something that hit me like a truck. The meat industry doesn't care that what feeds a 20-year-old athlete can poison a 70-year-old body. That's when it clicked. All those ribeye steaks I was bringing Dad, thinking I was spoiling him, those processed sausages he loved for breakfast, I was literally feeding him inflammation with every single bite. Here's what nobody tells you about being over 60. Your body doesn't process meat the same way it did when you were younger. It's like trying to run premium gas in an engine that now needs a completely different fuel. But instead of anyone explaining this, we just keep getting told eat more protein without any context about which proteins are actually going to help versus hurt. The worst part? I'd been doing exactly what most people do. Buying whatever was on sale, grabbing the convenient stuff, thinking meat is meat. My dad was eating lunch meat practically every day because it was easy. Those pre-seasoned chicken thighs from the grocery store because they tasted good. And don't even get me started on the bacon. He'd have it with breakfast almost every morning because honestly, what's breakfast without bacon, right? But here's the thing that really gets me angry, and I mean genuinely frustrated, is that there's this whole industry built around selling us the cheapest, most convenient options without any regard for what it's doing to our bodies as we age. They slap high in protein on a package and call it healthy, when half the time it's loaded with nitrates, sodium, and God knows what else that's basically creating a perfect storm of inflammation in older bodies. So I started digging deeper, and what I found honestly scared me. There are 4 types of meat that are particularly brutal for people over 60, and chances are you're eating at least 2 of them regularly. Then there are 4 others that can literally be like medicine if you know how to use them right. The scary ones first, because I wish someone had told me this months ago. Processed lunch meats are probably the worst offender. And I'm talking about everything from that fancy honey ham to the turkey slices that seem so innocent. The sodium levels alone are enough to mess with your blood pressure, but it's the preservatives that really do the damage. They create this low-grade inflammation that just builds and builds until your body can't keep up anymore. Then there's conventionally raised beef, especially the fatty cuts. Now, I'm not saying all beef is bad, but the stuff that's raised with hormones and fed corn instead of grass? It's like putting dirty oil in your car. Your body at 60 plus doesn't have the same ability to process all those inflammatory compounds and they just accumulate. The third one surprised me. Farmed salmon. I thought I was being so healthy buying salmon for Dad twice a week. Turns out most of what you get at the grocery store is farm-raised and pumped full of dyes and antibiotics. It's basically the processed lunch meat of the fish world. And here's the one that, broke my heart a little. Bacon and sausage. I know. But the combination of nitrates, excess salt, and low-quality meat is like a triple threat against everything your body's trying to do to stay healthy after 60. But here's where it gets good. The 4 meats that can actually help. Wild-caught salmon, when you can find the real stuff, is like an anti-inflammatory miracle. The omega-3 fatty acids actually help your body fight the aging process instead of accelerating it. Grass-fed beef, in smaller portions, gives you the protein and B vitamins your body needs without all the inflammatory baggage. I started getting Dad a small grass-fed steak once a week instead of those big conventional ones every few days. Organic pasture-raised chicken, especially the thighs, not just the breasts, provides protein that your body can actually use efficiently. And here's a secret, the thighs have more nutrients than the breasts anyway. The fourth one is going to sound weird, but organ meats from grass-fed animals are like nature's multivitamin. I'm not saying you need to eat liver every day, but even small amounts occasionally can provide nutrients that are hard to get anywhere else. The change in my dad was honestly dramatic. Within about 3 weeks of switching his meat sources, the brain fog lifted, his joint pain decreased significantly, he started sleeping better, and that gray tired look, gone. Look, I get it. This stuff is more expensive up front. Good meat costs more than garbage meat, that's just reality. But when I think about what we were spending on doctor visits and medications, not to mention watching him feel terrible every day, it's actually cheaper in the long run. The hardest part isn't the money though, it's breaking the habits. Dad had been eating the same breakfast sausage for probably 15 years. Convincing him to try something different felt like I was taking away one of his simple pleasures. But once he started feeling better, he became the biggest advocate for making the switch. If you're over 60, or you love someone who is, please don't make the same mistake I did. Your body deserves fuel that actually supports it instead of fighting against it. Start with just one change. Maybe swap out that lunch meat for some real cooked chicken breast, or try wild-caught salmon once this week instead of whatever fish is on sale. Your future self will thank you, and the people who love you will get to keep you around feeling good for a lot longer. Trust me, that's worth more than saving a few bucks at the grocery store.